Hello YouTube, Bruno from Brittany, France. I'm here for a new video and obviously it's been a while since my last one, but because English, as you can say, is not my mother language, I decided to give priority to my French channel. You will see the name around here. And I decided not to stop this English channel, but to only respond to funny threads. So this is it for today, because there is this channel, sorry I don't know the name of the guy, but called Tokyo Record Style, and he was celebrating his 20 years in Tokyo, and with a Japan vinyl tag, and I thought it would be funny for me to try to answer to those 20 questions. So let's get to it. The first question is Obi-Wan. Show a record with a Japanese obi strip or cool insert. Well, one of my favorite albums in all my collection is also my first obi trip album, and it is this. It's a guy called Yokota, and he is playing flute. And this is a production by Superfly Records in Paris. It is sounding so good, this album, and it's a jazz fusion with lots of energy. I think it was from 71, and yes, the obi strip is here, and I've got several other albums pressed in Japan by this label, but I think that because of this era with so many audiophile reissues, there is not more reissues by Superfly Records at the moment, but this one is my precious one. A Japanese band or artist. Show a Japanese band or artist, or a Japan-inspired band or artist. So I decided to go for Dibala. Sorry, it's the French pronunciation for this Japanese band. Dibala is what we can call a space rock trio in Tokyo. They are driven by a powerful guitar, and maybe I can say this is between heavy metal and post-rock. And maybe people who like prog rock could also love this. Yeah, so it's Dibala, and the name of the album, not easy for me, is Threshold. I made it. Next one, the third one, Sunrise soundtrack. Share a record for watching a sunrise. So I decided to go for a soundtrack. In fact, this is the soundtrack for a film it was in 85 by Akira Kurosawa, Ran, which is in fact a very, very good film. I think it was in Cannes as well at the time. And the music is made by Toru Takemitsu, and it's very slow, very percussive as well, and yeah, but maybe it's announcing a day that is that could be harsh. Yeah, so perfect soundtrack to get a bit of suspense for the day to come. The next one show a record with a city vibe. There is this Japanese jazz series called J-Jazz Masterclass Series by BBE in England. And there is this album called Planets by Masaru Imada Trio +1. And as you can see, there is pictures here from a city. I presume it could be Tokyo. And it is a piano. It's a piano trio with because of course Masaru Imada is a pianist, and it is very piano driven, I should say. And it is as well very melancholic, so for a city vibe it's perfect. The next one is Zen listening. So we are leaving Japan now. Last week I was in Paris and I went to Sam Records shop. I met there Fred Thomas, and I didn't buy any Sam Records because I've got already several in my collections, and I wanted to buy some records that I can't get anywhere in France. And this is this sort of album, the analog production albums, reissues, and I didn't know this one, and I asked Fred, which would you take for you? And he said, take this one, quite Kenny Dorham, and this is a so subtle album. I love it, and I said to Fred afterwards that it was so great for me, and yeah, so to be Zen now, I've got my album. The next one is Go Go Godzilla. Share a record that destroyed your music expectations and perceptions. So we are back in Japan, but it's a fusion between two artists. A band called Poil. It is a French band, experimental rock band, and a Japanese artist called Ueda. Sorry for my pronunciation. I'm not sure it's correct in English. I'm rather sure it's not correct in Japanese. So it's called Poil Ueda. I will write down the name here because, yes. And so, what is it? It is a mix between experimental rock from France and traditional song from Japan. And so there are very bizarre association between the two style of music, and I listened to this the first time on Bandcamp, and I said that I need it. So this is their first album together, and I think that there is another one. So yes, you should check out. Maybe you can like it like I do. Yeah, Poil Ueda. The next one is ahead of its time. Share a record that was ahead of its time. So there is two albums here because I thought spontaneously at two different albums. The first one is an album from Manchester Magazine, the first album, and by Howard Devoto. That was just, I think, 6 months before he left the Buzzcocks, and it is a post-punk album during the punk era. So yes, everything in post-punk is here. But in the same not vein, but in the same feeling for me. There is this album Tago Mago by Can. So it is in the early 70s, yeah, and when you listen to that, it's not, you are not in the 70s, but you are far ahead in the future, because it seems that it seems very modern, even today. So yeah, Can Tago Mago. Take a Walk, Man. Sony Walkman tribute, show an album suitable for dubbing to cassette for the classic Sony Walkman. So it's not. It's true. The album that I show here, I listened to it this way. So it is Prefab Sprout Crimson Red. It was released in 2013, I think, and I've got this album in CD in the first place, and downloaded it in my iPhone, and it is always with me when I'm away. And for example, when I've got a work day in another town, I need to work at the end of the day, and I listen to this. The next one is Bullet Train. Show a record perfect for a train ride. So I decided to go for Masao Nakajima Quartet, Kemosabe. This is a J-Jazz series as well. And it's from 79. And what can I say about this? This is a pianist album, and it reminds me McCoy Tyner because it's melodic and sometimes experimental or avant-garde, and it's a pretty fast album in the first side, and when you are in a train, the landscapes are moving fast, so yeah, this is a perfect listen in a train, I think. Lost in Translation, share a record that takes you to different worlds. So, I got recently the OST of Lost in Translation, and there was some My Bloody Valentine tracks on it. So I thought about shoegaze, and there is this artist, this South Korean artist called Paranol, and Paranol is a mix between shoegaze and some elements of folk in it, and so I thought that it's a good way to answer to Lost in Translation, because it's so perfect. But it's an album from 2023, and I think that there is a new one, but I didn't get it for now. Live at Budokan, show any recorded live. Well, I don't have any live in Budokan in my collection, but so I decided to go for something else, and well, no, something else is no, and this is Gainsbourg, Serge Gainsbourg. It was recorded live in Le Palace, which was a sort of nightclub at the time. So it was, I think it was in 79, yes. And it is the live version of my favorite album from Serge Gainsbourg, which is Aux Armes, etc. And this album was recorded in Jamaica with Sly and Robbie. And on this live session, you have Gainsbourg with his musicians, and Sly and Robbie are part of them. So yeah, this is this two record set called Enregistrement public au Théâtre du Palace by Serge Gainsbourg in '79, and it is it was recently released. This one, yeah. The next one is Vinyl Bar DJ. Show record to play at a vinyl bar. I didn't have to choose here because last year I went to New York, and there near the Empire State Building there is a street called Korean City. It's an average street, it's nothing special, but you have there a vinyl bar run by Korean people. And so I looked to my Instagram account to just to see what music was airing at the time we were there, and it was something else by Cannonball Adderley with oh, you know this one. Island Nation share a record with an island vibe. I decided to go for this album for a Britain album called USA by an artist called Jan Tiersen. And USA is the Breton name for Ouessant in French and for Ocean in English. And it's a small part of Earth in the west of Brittany, so you can go further west in France. And yes, it's a solo piano album with some effects by adding some sounds recorded in different places in the small island. So, for example, you have Hent, one, Pern, Portsgorret, Loch Wells, Penarrock, and all of these names are places on the island. So, yes, I recommend this because it's so good. Jan Tiersen, USA, and by the way, he has a home studio on the island. The next one is Monsoon Season. I don't know what it means, but the explanation is share a record for a rainy day. And I decided to go for Furio. The international title of this movie, because it's an OST of a movie, is Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence, with David Bowie and Ryuichi Sakamoto here. And all the soundtrack was composed by Ryuichi Sakamoto. And I remember I saw this film in '83. It's a long way to remember what was in the film, and I think that there was some rainy days in the film. But what I know is that the rhythm of this album is very fit perfectly with a rainy day. So Furio by Ryuichi Sakamoto. By the way, it's a film by Nagisa Oshima, which is one of my favorite Japanese directors. The next one is the question 15. Wabi Sabi. I don't know what it means, but we said show a record that's imperfectly perfect. What is imperfectly perfect in my collection? For me, it's music for New Orleans. So I decided to go for this album called Dr. John, the Night Tripper Gris-Gris. I say gris-gris in French because it's French words, so yeah. And it is Speaker's Corner version. So it's perfect. It's not sophisticated. It's not something that was produced very. It's the atmosphere is the main thing here. So yes, love it. Origami Me. Um, well, I'm not so much in sort of thing, but let's go for it because it's a very good album. I decided to go for this album by Yaz Ahmed. Yaz Ahmed is, I think she is, her family is coming from Bahrain, and but she is an English London-based trumpet player, I think. And this art cover is just perfect, and it is part of the experience of buying this album. And in the album you have as well a booklet like that, and the you have the name of all the musician and the name of the illustrator, which is Sophie Bass. So yeah, you can see that here. And by the way, the album is called La Saboteuse by Yaz Ahmed. And Sophie Bass is makes the illustration for all the albums by Yaz Ahmed. The question 17 is Fusion Frenzy. Share an album that fuses genres. So I decided to go for this one. It's called Benzaiten, and it is the first album by this artist, this Japanese artist. His real name is Osamu Kitajima, and it is his first album in 74, released in 75. It's a mix between a fusion between traditional Japanese music with electronic effects and rock, and I think that it could be loved by fans of prog rock as well. Question 18. Tokyo Nights, so a nightlife record. So I decided to go to this album called Kikaku Moyo Masana Temples. It was released in 2018, and it's a Japanese rock and psychedelic album. And yeah, I love this because it's very funny. It's fun to listen to that. And it's guitar driven, and in fact it is a little bit melancholic as well, and it's never boring. And the band decided to disband in 2022, and then they made another album that I've got here in the meantime. Yeah. Question 19, end of the day. Otsukare-sama. Okay. Show a record to play at the end of the busy day. And well, what is very hard for us in the vinyl sector to do in the end of a busy day is to choose a record. What? It's very hard. No? So, if you don't want to choose, you take a compilation, and there is this triple album compilation called J-Jazz, Deep Modern Jazz from Japan, Volume 4, the Nippon Columbia label, between 68 and 81. And so after a busy day, I would listen to this, and I would learn more about Japanese jazz from this period. So yes, it's maybe a little easy, but in the end of a busy day, yeah. The last question, question 20, The Last Samurai. Share a record to be remembered by, to play at your memorial. Well, I didn't want to answer very seriously to this one, not yet, so I decided to go for this. It's Delvon Lama Organ Trio live at KEXP, and I would choose the track "Move On Up," which is the first one in the session, and it is, of course, track by Curtis Mayfield. And why did I choose this one? Because it's a perfect session in an orange vinyl, which we don't care, and it was recorded in an empty store in the center of Seattle at the time. I think it was in 2016 or 17, and it has been watched in YouTube millions of times, and so it's very I'm very pleased to have this in my collection, because it's a great moment of music. Yeah. Delvon Lama Organ Trio live at KEXP. So this is my last answer, and thank you for making this list, Tokyo Record style, because it was fun to answer to. And so thank you for watching. Goodbye, and Kenavo.